The African Development Bank initiative to rechannel SDRs to multilateral development banks could multiply their impact by 5. And this example should be expanded.
We're seeing important innovations begin to take shape across the African Development Bank.
I have a very simple reason to be here. I have 2 daughters and a grandchild. My grandchild is 18 months old. As I told Mia this the other day, I want to look my grandchild in the eye 5 years from now and say, I was not an armchair critic. I tried to make a difference. That's why I'm here. My first visit as a nominee was to Côte d'Ivoire to meet with Akin. And actually Akin and that was my first actual meeting as a nominee. So I think in many ways we have to work in partnership, but the most important partnership is where Secretary Yellen was going with the private sector.
We work with the Asian Development Bank, the African Development Bank on sanitation. We work on innovative solutions for financing through these institutions that are going to lift everyone up.
As we gather today, we have 3 expectations for our gathering. First is to build political support of Your Excellency's heads of state and government for AGIA to support green infrastructure in your countries. The second is to build financing support. I know we have quite a lot of financiers and investors around here for AGIA. And third, to develop strategic partnerships for AGIA. Your Excellencies, welcome to this interaction.
Mon gouvernement travaille actuellement à améliorer le cadre d'intervention dans le secteur de l'énergie pour attirer les investissements du secteur privé, avec bien sûr l'appui de la Banque africaine de développement et d'autres partenaires au développement. Mon gouvernement a entrepris des réformes nécessaires pour une intervention effective des promoteurs privés.
I was in Ghana during the annual meetings of the African Development Bank that you hosted us so generously. And one of the things that I really enjoyed was going to the Pokwase Road interchange, which is tremendous. It's a 4-tier interchange. And I think it's the largest in West Africa and probably the second largest in Africa. So well done for all you're doing with regard to infrastructure.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. And Pokwase, I think we have to name one of the levels after you because of your assistance in getting us there. In this area, where there is a need for us to act with speed, we no longer have the luxury of time as an ally, that the matters that are brought to your attention are dealt with expeditiously. Thank you very much once again for your assistance in bringing us together.
Let me also thank you, because part of our journey towards renewable energy, we've had a great partnership with Africa Development Bank, especially in the distribution network. You remember 8 years ago, Kenya was at 30% connectivity. Today we are at 77% connectivity, courtesy of support from your good bank.
And also, I have expectations, President Adesina, that AGIA can perhaps help play a coordination role across different project preparation facilities on the continent, so that the financial and human resources that do exist can be leveraged more efficiently and effectively.
On a moins de revenus, la population a moins de revenus, mais on paie très cher l'énergie. C'est pour cette raison que je lance un appel et Madagascar soutient l'AGIA pour accroître le financement des infrastructures vertes en Afrique. Et nous devons aussi encourager le financement mixte pour mobiliser les fonds nécessaires et mettre en place la gouvernance et des mécanismes adaptés du contexte de chaque pays.
Tout d'abord, vous allez me permettre, Président Adesina, de vous féliciter pour votre leadership en faveur de l'économie verte. Votre initiative d'organiser aujourd'hui cette rencontre est encore une fois un témoignage pour cet engagement, ce qui est important pour nous tous.
I am not a fan of natural resource-backed loans at all in Africa because they are not transparent. In most cases, there's a lot of corruption, and it makes the debt negotiation in terms of treatment very, very complicated
for countries. We have about almost $60 billion of debt that is backed by oil, by gas, by metals, and blue economy. I think we should end all types of natural resource-backed loans. They're not in the interest of those countries. So we should not do anything like that. In the whole issue of the debt treatment. If you take the case of Africa, like in the 90s, when it was such a protracted process, it was not transparent, and it didn't really, we had a lost Africa decade in that period. I commend all the efforts going into in the G20 common framework and your support for that. But I do think we need to make sure that we improve the speed at which this gets done. But again, Chad is the only one that's been done. And Kristalina was talking about the one for Zambia and so on. But let's face the fact, it's way too slow, and it treats only a small number of countries, few countries. We need to have it at scale. We have a situation where we have African countries, almost 21 countries at high risk of distress or in debt distress. So we do have to make it work faster, work at scale. Very, very important. You know, like in 2000, Africa's debt, 52% of it was held by the bilateral creditors. Today is 25%. In 2000, we only had maybe 17% of the total debt held by the commercial creditors. Today, it's 43%. So that landscape has changed tremendously. So the amount of people you have to have around the table, to reach agreements is getting more complicated. But even, Kristalina, even among the bilaterals, you have the Paris Club bilaterals, you have the non-Paris Club bilaterals, and how to actually reach convergence, it's always an issue. So I think we do need to have a more coordinated approach.
We are now working with my brother of the African Development Bank to make it possible for regional development banks to use SDRs as hybrid capital.
Today, thanks to SDRs, if we were to get, for example, $200 billion, just think of it, allocation to MDBs, that could easily become $1 trillion because of the leveraging factor that we have as a hybrid capital to use that to be able to do that. That's the key. And I've always joked with my sister, Kristalina, about the SDR. It's called special drawing rights. But if we are able to have hybrid capital and use it and advance Kristalina, all the things that you and I care about, we all care about, health, education, and so on. Maybe we might consider even changing the name of that SDR to supporting development revitalization. It's a different way of SDR, but it works also for us. Thank you very much.